Tyler Road, virtual threat, keystroke kill, identity hidden, I fulfill. Cyber assassin, that's my prowl. Codes in hand, you'll fall. Hack and strike, chaos I make. Cyber realm, my domain to take.
Never made it this far out towards that mountain. This is the furthest that I've gotten so far. So this is the mountain that I've been trying to get to, and I finally made it to the foothills. It was really neat. On the way up this hill, I started to see this very clear pathway here. You can see that it's lined. Seems to be a pretty clear path, right? So I'm walking up, I'm like, oh wow, there's this path. Wicked. I finally found like better evidence here that, you know, there was inhabitants in this area. So I get up here, and then I got a little bit bummed out, because once I got up the hill all the way and got to the other side of the hill, I found that my 2.5, probably 3 miles in total by the time you get there, so 6 miles round trip, uphill and all that stuff, you know, it's just not necessary. Because on the other side of this hill that I climbed, bro, there's a road. There's a road that brings you all the way out here from Picture Rocks, evidently. And they've got parking down there. They've got, you know, you can drive right up to the mountain and park. Man, I swear I looked all over the maps to see how to get out here, and I didn't want to see that. So it's kind of a aha moment. Oh, so I can drive all the way to Picture Rocks and find this road, and then just go to one of these parking lots and park, and then hike up the mountain. Well, it's all about seeing the nature and enjoying the hike and the exercise. I found a bunch of that black stone that I am curious whether or not it's gold laden. I mean, I know it's iron and it's very, very ridiculously heavy, super heavy. So being that it has other metals in it and it looks melted, I'm pretty curious on whether or not it does have gold in it. There's a lot of mining just along the trail on my way in. I found galena and copper and, you know, what looks like silver, and possibly, I know there's gold mines, you know, around in these hills, so it's not out of the realm of possibilities for it to actually be gold. And I'll find out, you know, when I get home. I'll do some more research on the stone and see if I can verify what it is. But at any rate, that's the mountain that now I know how to get over to it. So I can find the road and actually drive out to it now, instead of hiking 6 miles uphill. It's good exercise. I'm not complaining. I mean, yeah, good stuff. At least I'll be able to drive there and then have the energy to get into that hill. I mean, really go. So I'm very curious. I've been led to this area, it feels like. I've even had my spiritual advisors mention that the point is not climbing the mountain. The real point is just being out here in this area and getting my hiking in, but it's also just connecting with spirit out here. It's connecting with nature and having that, well, I mean, you get a little delirium, just like runners get their runner's high, and people literally get addicted to exercise and running because you get all these endorphins and stuff, right? So it's the same with hiking. Whenever you throw 100 pounds of rock and stuff in your bag and water and food, and you know, I'm always with my shotgun, so carry my shotgun, just loaded down, and you hit the hills, you end up going into a trance is what it is. You know, I was a runner too. I ran track, and I loved the trance of running. You just get in the zone and you zone out. It's like meditation, right? So getting into that meditative state, that is where you're able to connect with the here and now. Where the spirit lives is not in your thoughts. It's here in the moment. It's right here, right now. That's where the spirit lives. And it feels very relevant right now to be connected in the moment, because there's so much fear and worry and stress and, you know, distrust and a push for division in humanity, period. Point blank, just there's a push for division in humanity. And it is up to us to be divided or not. I fully decide not to be divided from my fellow brothers and sisters. I really could care less about your religion or your sexual orientation or your politics, or that stuff really doesn't matter to me. You know, if I were to encounter you out here hurt or whatever, I would absolutely do everything in my power to help you. And I would never consider, not once, your race, your political views, your religion. Who fucking cares, man? You know, and I come out here and I pass people and I wave, I say hi, and they don't say shit. And I think maybe because I have my shotgun and they're just scared, or I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I have this, you know, this bounce vibe to me. Just try to be friendly. It's not natural to me. I like to stick to myself. And I am sort of forcing hi, you know, and it doesn't come out naturally. So I get it. It's sort of fake, and I would be like, what? Too, if somebody said it the way I say it. I would rather just keep my mouth shut and scoot by like they're not even there, but I'm learning. I'm doing better. I'm being more open to others, not trying to just ignore them as if they're not there. Being more inclusive of the people around is seems to be important right now. It really does. I don't want to in any way get wrapped up in the media frenzy, the chaos that's being pushed out into the world about war and hate and divisions. This is my world out here. There's none of that. None of it out here. The birds don't care. The saguaros and the ocotillos. Cat claws. Stones, boulders. All the minerals. The lizards, the snakes. Coyotes, bobcats. Up there, goats, mountain goats, bighorn sheep. There's a lot of different animals out here, you know, and I guarantee you none of them are concerned with our pettiness. And since I do relate more closely to nature than I do my own fellow man. I don't either. You know, I don't either. I look at people getting so upset about race and religion and sexual orientation, and they don't understand why I just laugh at them like they're children, like they're babies. Infantile concerns. I get it that suffering brings about appreciation. Loss of things makes you appreciate things. And, you know, it's like if you give a car to a child, they're probably not going to respect that car if they haven't had to put anything to it, if they haven't had to work to afford some part of that. It really won't matter as much to them as if they had to put their own blood, sweat, and tears into it. Then they're going to treat it like their baby that they love. Because some people don't even care about their babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's real. I say that as if everybody cares about babies, which, like I do. I love babies. Babies are awesome. They're the best of us. They really are. Babies and little children are the best of humanity. I mean, if we could just put little ones together and let them chit chat, and we observe them in their, you know, non-compliance with the worries of the adult world, we could probably learn more from them than they can learn from us. A lot of what we're teaching children is garbage. We have more to learn from their absence of our teachings than we have to teach them, because a lot of what we're teaching kids is garbage. It is. Love. Love's where it's at. You know, I've had a couple revelations on, you know, intuition. I had one of my spiritual guides that I listened to that said something that really clicked. It was trusting your intuition is something that happens here. That gut feeling that people talk about, that's your intuition, okay? And when you have a worry, a lot of times the way to check that worry is to just tune into where it's coming from. Is that paranoia? Is that angst? Is that anxiety? Is that worry coming from here? Or is it coming from here? Because if it's coming from here, it's garbage. It really is. I mean, unless it's founded and you concretely know what it is you're worrying about, then sure, it makes sense. But if you just have anxiety, okay, and it's not coming from here, it's coming from here, dude, get out of your head. You know what I mean? Just get out of your head. It's not helping you to dwell. You need to get out, exercise your body to the point that your body shuts down and your mind shuts down and your spirit wakes up. Your spirit will take over once you hit that moment of cruise. You know, you're just an autopilot moving along. And it is liberating for the soul to allow yourself the time to declutter, to defrag your spirit and your mind through exercise, ultimately. I mean, that's all it is. I don't go to the gym. This is my gym. This, oh my God. This is my gym. I'm so stupid. Like, oh my God, this thing is stupid heavy. I don't understand. But this is, that stone that I'm saying may be gold laden. It's possible. All I know is it's ridiculously heavy for the size of it. God, it's heavy, dude. A lot heavier than iron. You know, I've dealt with a lot of iron, and I know iron. This is not that. much heavier. So, not to say it couldn't be any other number of, you know, heavier metal elements, but I'll find out. You know, got a bunch of pieces, and there's a whole lot out there. I mean, people haven't come way out here in the desert and dug these huge holes all over. I mean, all through that area. On the other side, there's actually gold mines between these two hills. Okay, and out along this area, just holes in the ground everywhere. And then there's, like I said, galena, which is lead ore. There's copper ore, and some other things that look like possibly gold ore and silver ore. There's a lot going on out here. So I'm just checking it out, picking up some pieces, having a good time, but more, I'm just kind of defragging. It's been a long couple of weeks. A lot has happened. A lot of stress has been put on us all. A lot of concern and worry has been put on us all. And I definitely took the time to feel it and share it and really deep dive it, to feel it. You know, no, I was not a huge fan of, you know, any of these. I'm not a fan of any of the political. I'm not left, I'm not right. I'm not for the gays, I'm not for the straights. I'm just for humanity. I don't understand why people can't just get back to that. Can't we just be humans first? I mean, geez. All this church of self. We're all so self-important, and that's where all the troubles come from. We all feel that we need to be so broken down into a special little me category. Nobody's like me. I'm so special. Nobody does this like me. Nobody thinks like this. No. Typically, when you're trying to have spirit conversations with people, it always turns into religion. You can't just talk about the spirit and the nature of it and working with it and growing it and knowing it and all of the nice, abundant things that start to occur when you do arrive at a knowing of your own soul and a mastery of it. The manifestation of thought into reality, the ability to be cognizant in your astral body, the ability to connect with others through telepathy, the ability to empathically feel how others feel from a distance. These are all things that happen in the spirit, through the spirit, by the spirit, in each other, through each other, by each other. It all happens when you allow your connection to be real. The denial of spirit connection is individuality. The move towards individualization is what's killing the connection of spirit and humanity. The commonality between us is dying due to our self-importance. Nature doesn't do that. Nor is it Democratic, Republican. It's not it's not conservative, it's not communist. It's just what it is. It's a rose. It's a rose, and it always smells as sweet no matter what you call it. I do want to film a little bit just the natural stone structure here, how things look. You know, I was showing in those areas, you know, closer to the road, and these hills, where towards the top of the hills, the rocks aren't naturally strewn about. This is everyday natural erosion. You know, water gets in, freezes, Ice forms, cracks the boulders, they fall apart. Rain comes, washes them down, you know, everything starts just falling over slowly. It doesn't go far, it just decays and crumbles, but it doesn't go far, right? Over there, it looks like sticks of dynamite were put in, shit was blown everywhere, like destroying evidence of civilization to own outright forever what is there or what was there, or the narrative of what had happened there. The reason I'm bringing this up is seeing all of this natural erosion and depositing of stone that has just happened as it does over eons. At the base of this hill, there's a hill that's different. There's a hill that reminds me of Kentucky or Alabama, or these places where the mound builders were, where they obviously had temples, burial mounds, structures that were far grander and took more technology to create than we give credit to the Dene who lived in the area back then, if it was indeed them, or maybe it was a different race of beings altogether, right? Like giants or something like that, right? Whether you believe in it or not, the evidence is there that large structures were built and buried. And this isn't just there. This has happened in several places in the world, okay? And the stories crop up about giants being involved and, you know, this happening as the so-called civilization or civilized world was moving in to the old world, or the untouched world. Somehow, some way, the native inhabitants buried these structures, right? So that they would not be discovered. And still to this day, they're finding, but they're not sure exactly how they did it, because they did it with the right material in such a way that still to this day, they just look like hills. But now that we have LiDAR and all these different capabilities to deep penetrate scan, they're finding, oh wow, there is a obviously built structure here that has been buried. Okay, I go to that extent because that hill is all wrong. The entire thing makes zero sense. See the stone around, natural decay, natural erosion. I'm gonna shut it down, and when I get down to that hill, I'll turn it back on. You'll see what I mean. This is why I brought that up, is this reminds me of Georgia mounds, the Kentucky mounds, like all over the South. There's these mounds of, you know, they have dirt mounds, but they're layered with the right soil, so it never eroded. It just stayed there, grew grass, and it's there to this day. But this hill here has this strewn about, broken up pieces of granite, just like it was deposited here. This looks like it was cut and pushed, okay? I don't know who got heavy equipment out here, but I don't think anybody got out here and piled all this stone up. But even that, what I just showed you, is fairly, you know, understandable, sort of. I mean, the way that the boulders are strewn about don't really make sense. Doesn't look like natural erosion whatsoever. But this hill, garbage. Don't believe it for a second. None of this is right. None of it. This is a pile of boulders. I know what a pile of boulders looks like. I've seen a pile. I've seen what it looks like when you mound something up. And this here, my friends, is a mound. There's nothing natural about this. This did not erode into what it is. No, sir. This here is too strewn about. It's too strewn about. It's too piled and scooted. None of this is real as far as nature. That line, this cut, nope, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Walking around on this stuff. It's a huge pile of scooted together boulders. If I've ever seen a piled up pile of boulders, stacked, piled, I don't know. If there were giants, if there were indeed giants, they could have done something like this, I suppose. Us standard humans, my lord, would it take forever, but my intuition, my gut tells me underneath this, there's something to see. Something's hidden under this pile of granite. Because this granite here also isn't anywhere else. None of these hills have this new, fresh granite. It's all severely decomposed with lots of iron, and this one's just fresh. Is it possible to have one deposit that's much younger than the rest? Sure. But give me a break. The way that it's strewn about, piled up, nah. You want to believe it? That's cool. But I've done too much observation walking around in nature to believe for a second that this is natural. Garbage. Not natural. Nope. It's layers of stone with sand stacked, piled. Under this pile, there's something. There's something hidden under here. This was piled up on purpose. Stacked, scooted. Walked too many hills all over Arizona. All over this area. All of those hills. All of these hills. The hills on the other side of those hills. The hills way over by Mount Lemmon on the other side of town. Nothing like this. Nowhere. There's nothing like it. I've never seen a hill of boulders that just looks like it was scooted together and piles of dirt with it. So that's my take on this hill. Is this hill here is actually a mound, a covered up, intentionally hidden mound. Now I do have a theory, and I might as well share it. Previous civilizations, you can call them alien if you want, but maybe there are other inhabitants of Earth that have been here possibly longer than us. Maybe they're just so evolved, they live where we don't need to see them because we're like monkeys to them, and they just mind their own business, living in the ocean and in the earth and out there in the stars. And when we started coming into these areas and inhabiting, we went to war with them. Lots of stories about human alien wars in Kentucky and the cave systems that I have been in. I've been in the caves, in the mountains in Kentucky. I have spent the night on a stone pillar tower in the middle of the forest in Kentucky. There's oddities in the forest in Kentucky, okay? Look into it. But when I see a pile of broken up stone like this, it looks like a pile of tailings. It looks like a huge pile of tailings, copper ore. Chipped up, broken up pile of stone. Again, below the other one. Different though. This is more of the native, same stone that I see everywhere else except for this hill here. That hill's different. It's doing a whole different thing. At any rate, mound, no mound, civilizations that could have possibly been here that we made agreements with, okay? I've heard of these agreements that, you know, we allow them to take so many humans and they leave us alone, and then it doesn't work, so we go to war. And part of those agreements may be that they had to disappear their existence on Earth, make it look like they never did inhabit anywhere, because they still do. Maybe places like this are actually entry points. They're sites where they used to live above ground, but were forced to go underground due to the agreements they made with humanity. Could this be the ravings of a bad man? Could be. Could it be reality? Well, that depends on your ability to imagine and think outside of the narrative you've been taught your entire life. I personally come to this conclusion of my own accord that a lot of what I have been seeing is hiding a past that may possibly not even be a past of humanity. Maybe the ancient civilizations of a different race are hidden on purpose so that they can still exist with us in secret. A hidden, secret society of beings that live inside of the earth, inside of the ocean. And right here in the desert, right under our feet, there's caverns and rivers and an entire ocean of water underneath the desert. When I say an ocean, I'm not joking. There is a freshwater ocean under the desert. Not particularly right here, but further over to the base of where the Gila Mountains are, and the base of Mount Lemmon and the Rincons, and that whole Gila Rift all the way through New Mexico has a underground river. And there are spots where you can enter. There's holes where you can actually go down into that. I've actually swam in one. I didn't realize what it was until I was already trying to find the bottom. Me and my buddy went in, you know, we're swimming around. We were gigging frogs is what we were doing. And I was like 9. And we were gigging frogs. And we just decided, you know, let's jump in and see how deep this thing is. So we started swimming to the bottom. And tell you what, man, I hit a spot where I felt a current and it was ice cold. Being that it was the summer and the water that I was in was fairly warm, when I felt that current move and the icy water touch my toes, because I was swimming downward with my feet down, when I felt that, it scared me so bad that when I felt that cold current touch my toes, I looked up and I saw that I was in a huge cavity, and the pond that we were swimming in, that was only maybe 60 feet across in diameter, that thing was just a little tiny hole into this huge cavity of water in the ground. And mind you, ice cold water. 1 mile up the road, hot springs. So that water is interacting with lava underground, a mile away from where I was, piping hot. Okay, and I was swimming in that water that goes all the way from one to the other. So needless to say, I came flying out of that water, me and my buddy, and never did that again. Later on, I asked my uncle, I was telling him about it because he was from the same area, you know, and he told me that the hole that we were swimming in was created from an oil drilling team who had gone out there and set a derrick and drilled down. They hit water, and the water came up, eroded the soil, and the derrick went down, and they lost it. So they tried to send scuba divers and all kinds of different efforts to find it, and they never did. Never found the bottom, never found the derrick. They had to abandon it. Now it's a park out there with hot springs, and nobody ever really notices that pond that's just surrounded by cattails. Can't really hardly get to it, and nor do they know what it actually is. Now, things like that to me seem to be entry points for that other race that lives in the water, underground. You know, if you can live in space, guaranteed living in the ocean or under water in the desert, you know, is not a big thing. If you can make it in space, you can make it in the water or underground too. So that's my theory, okay? This is something that, you know, Arizona's filled with all these legends of UFOs and sightings and stuff. And where do they go? That's what I say, is there's these holes all over the place in the desert that just drop down into water. Ain't nobody going in there to see what's going on. And if they did, it probably wouldn't come out anyways. I was all the way on top of that mountain there, overlooking this one. It's a good 3 miles from here. Doesn't look like it, but wow. Whew. Bro, over 100 pounds in the bag, shotgun, water, food, heat, that angst, that worry. Trust me, it's gone. When you deplete your body and push yourself to that degree, all your worries kind of cease to exist. There's this part of you that just almost, you know, you get close to giving up. You're just like, you know, I could just die right here. And it's not like that, but I mean, it feels like a release though. Like, yeah, I'm still trucking along, legs are good, shoulders are still hanging in, you know, definitely could have done with some more water, but and I'd be carrying more weight and la-di-da. You know, I've got plenty of hydration in me. I did finish my water, you know, 2/3 of the way back, so I'm getting thirsty, but I'm still good. The point is, I'm gonna be so relaxed for a few days at this point, because that excess energy that's built up in me, all the thoughts and worries and all that shit, burnt, completely burnt. You can't put that much effort and time in and, you know, taking it on the heel, right? Walking it off. It's like that. Totally walked it off. I don't have a care in the world, not a worry in the world. Water, food, rest. It's pretty much all I have on my mind at this point, because wow, I've depleted everything else I have, and it feels good.
Broken glass beneath my feet, running through